10th turn of Silverton. Laid out some pieces. A few interesting things happening, primarily in the Leadville region, where that gold mine has attracted red, green, and blue all to throw their prospectors into there. In terms of track lays, and this was the biggest deal for green because they could have tried to steal this at like a +6. This is a good run, but there are two Leadville mines undepleted available, and only two more need to deplete for this to go. One of them is under green's hand. They want the money from it, is what it comes down to. So they're saying, well, if I'm going to run it anyway, I'm kind of putting it at risk. Red has the other one, well, would have the other one here. And if they win, whoever wins the Leadville mine, if it's red, they might sit on it to try to prevent a depletion and crashing this. But green had the least chance of getting that mine. In fact, 0 if they went for the run. And everyone else would have the desire to deplete it, in which case the one that they hold would be their hole card. That's their advantage. They don't have to run that one, but they needed the money. So they've decided not to go for the passenger run. It's too expensive, too risky. And they're going to join in the Leadville fight. They have a shot at getting it. They were the first person who had to place there, I think. No, red went first. And they didn't really realize blue would jump in with a +2 prospector. So their chances are kind of low. Elsewhere we see potentials for expansion. White making it up to Taos, perhaps. Yellow competing with that for the runs from El Paso and Albuquerque and even Santa Fe, cutting down to, or cutting up to things like Pueblo. What do we have here? We have Pueblo to Grand Junction. That's not this one. That's going to be, that's a run from here. They're not going to get that. But they have the El Paso to Santa Fe. Oh. Nobody took that? White should be prospecting that sucker if he has the cash. I don't know if he does. That's what he's set up for. That costs $320. Now, he unfortunately is spending $200 to make sure he gets to Taos, and that's why it's not being prospected. He doesn't have enough cash to do both. He needs to sell that lumber. Mainly, he needs to get to Taos, because he could actually end up shut out from it. If yellow builds this track, yellow could drop down and connect Santa Fe and cut him out of Taos and make life a lot harder on him overall. That's something he doesn't want happening. So he didn't want to do that. But Pueblo to Santa Fe is available, which is this run here. Now that's available really to anybody. Blue, yellow, or white are all in the race there for it. And both yellow and white seem to be competing for it. Blue less, so they haven't continued building their track. Pueblo Grand Junction. Denver to Aspen. Red didn't go pick this up. Why? Because they wanted the Leadville gold. Hard choices here. They probably should have. If they had known about Blue's +2 prospector coming in there, they would have probably shied away from it. But as the ordering was, they went for it as well. Purple, cutting off the Aspen route, maybe, to Grand Junction, as well as the route that they definitely want. They may pull back from this one, depending on what they get and what they desire, but they are kind of cutting track by doing that and making life harder on other people to get to Grand Junction, which will allow them to control the big passenger routes, unless all the routes coming out of the Denver area get blocked off for them. I've seen that happen where both sides kind of can't continue, and neither group can make the card work on their own, and then they either have to come to some sort of deal, or because the purple player is holding these Grand Junction cards, they just say, the hell with it, I'm going to hold these. I'm going to make my money off them for the whole game and not worry about the bigger passenger cards. And then players manage to swing up and connect it up through the northern route or something in a long play of the game. And it's one of the reasons for playing the long game, because to tell you the truth, I don't remember which one's which, long or campaign. I think this is the campaign out to 24. The long game tends to end too short, too early to cut those passenger routes easily. So a lot of times they don't develop quite the way that I'd like them to. I think that's one of my biases in favor of the campaign game. All right, we see yellow pushing to Paxton Springs to get the lumber going because they see Tahoe's being bought, so they wanted to sell some of their lumber too at the higher prices that it's at right now before the market collapses. Let's see what happens. So I forgot to mention something, and I think I haven't been playing with it throughout the game. I know I haven't, but Blue won this race, but they weren't the shoe-in with that +2. They weren't even in the advantage. Both Red and Green connect to Leadville, so they had a +3 to their die roll in addition to everything else. So Red had a total of +4 that gave them like a 7. Now I don't remember if a 3 causes problems. I know a 2 does. I'll have to look that up. If a 2 is rolled, yeah, not a 3. Okay, so the risk is fairly low. Anyway, Blue managed to get away with the Leadville run, which was kind of iffy. There was a good chance that that was going into Red or Green because they have that additional +3. And now we start the purchases, and Red's first up. They're not going to have a prospector, so they're just building their track. Okay, well, what's been happening? Some stuff was dumped. Good old Blue dumping coal in Pueblo. White dropped some lumber. They didn't have a lot of capacity to carry stuff though, so they started buying a 42 train. We see Blue bought a 42 train. Really the whole back half of the players picked those up. Grab extra, haul extra freight. Purple has a decent amount of load that they can carry. They didn't have anything they wanted to deliver was their problem. So, quite often you don't realize I need another train until, oh geez, I needed one last turn. And that may be a situation that Purple's kind of in. They have a good amount of load. They're only talking gold and they're only talking silver as kind of the thing they're worried about here. Their other stuff, well, it's not a big deal when you find out, ah geez, I need a bigger coal train. You can always dump more coal later. But with the gold and silver, when you do find out you need another train, sometimes you'll actually delay a turn because of that. Anyway, we saw the lumber go into Santa Fe. Yellow did not play their lumber. They don't reach Santa Fe yet. The prices were not at their max. Yeah, at their max in Santa Fe, and not yet at El Paso. El Paso gets more valuable, so they're holding off to make their run there, and they wanted that bigger train for that. And likewise, White wants their bigger train to be able to get down there and make that heavy load. Also see that Purple bought the big Salt Lake City to Grand Junction. That's $250 a turn now that they're going to make. That reveals another one of the big cards. In this case, it's Gallop to Santa Rosa. Whoa. I don't know where these things are, right? Gallop's over here. This is a weird one, to Santa Rosa here. It doesn't fit in with most of the other connections. Because most of the others kind of work together. How big is it? It's late in the game, it's high price, and it gives $500, which isn't bad. It actually has a very high payoff percentage. So that's very desirable. Yellow's already working their way there. They may cut across and try to make that one work. That may be their additional one, and maybe take the shot either to Pueblo or Salt Lake City, making their decision at some point. Which one of these two routes they want to support, because they don't want to go forward with both. I don't think they can reach both. Purple's in the interesting position, though. They almost dominate Grand Junction. The only way into it otherwise is through here, which means nobody can take the other halfway cards. Nobody can take the Denver to Grand Junction easily. They can't block it off completely. That would be ridiculous, but actually they can come pretty close if they build this. But it prevents anyone else from getting those kind of mid-game high passenger runs by dominating Grand Junction this way. This is one of the huge advantages of Salt Lake City. They're able to get there quicker than anyone else, and they're able to kind of do this and prevent anyone from exploiting them. It's one of the reasons the spike scenarios are kind of cool, but those, I think, there may be a 4-player one, but none of them will hold 6. And it's kind of one of my iffies. I always play the game in 6 players when I play it solitaire, but I'm thinking that I'm not getting necessarily the best game by doing so. The effect of prices, well, copper climbed a little bit. Silver shot up 5 spaces. It's now worth $300 a pop. Now, it's kind of a dangerous time because people kind of need money, especially if they draw an early card in the turn may dump, and that just causes everyone to dump the silver. And silver ends up in this up-down cycle where it's just sliding back and forth across the chart. Once it gets to a certain point, people say, another $100 each isn't worth waiting on. It's too dangerous. Likewise, someone late in the turn might say, I'm the only person selling and I can ditch the prices. Interesting. All depends on the situation. No? Lumber rose slightly everywhere, pretty much. Coal, though, took kind of a bath. Even Denver went down, even though nobody sold there. Anyway, we're moving on into the autumn. The IDE goes up to 4. And here in autumn of the third turn, let's take a quick look at where people went. Yellow pushing north as well as westward. They have their McGaffey lines. They also have the Gallup to Santa Rosa possibility. But they're chasing northward for the eventual hookup to Pueblo. Now, they could have cut into Santa Fe, and that might have actually been wise because coal is a little bit better priced at Santa Fe. They could have given the lumber at El Paso a chance to grow up. I don't know which one they're going to deliver, or both maybe, but you know, they're stuck with one market, and that's a limiting feature to the game. It's kind of nice, even with two people, they can kind of get into this pattern where they dump their goods in one market and then dump them in the other, and they can actually usually make more money by doing that. White has the advantage of being in two markets right now. They're expanding upward north and actually kind of betting the farm on not getting cut out of the big run up there. They're also picking up the Pueblo to Santa Fe card. I believe they have the shortest route. The way they cut down, lost some track there. The way they cut down looks cleaner than yellow's. I haven't counted up the points. If and when yellow connects up Santa Fe, I'll have to count them, but yellow's route has to go north and then back down, which is kind of painful. This little track to Taos was probably a mistake by yellow. They can't get up north in this direction, so they may end up having to rip that up. Let's see, where are we after? Well, we did one. Okay, blue is pushing up to Leadville because they have a couple of mines there, and their prospecting is going to be more coal in Canyon City. They've got a lot of coal going right now, but they lost some, so you know, you got to keep that flow being fed, and when it's all that's out there, it's what you go for, right? 3 is red. Red's pushing forward. I think they're going to cut up north to try to get to Salt Lake City, and they're grabbing the Denver to Aspen route, leaving the Boulder lumber alone. Now, lumber isn't at a bad price in Denver and Pueblo, so that may be kind of a calculated risk, because there's always a chance that entire pile could disappear, especially with people pulling off of here or something. I don't know. I think it's actually clearing out spaces. People pulling off of there is more likely to fill spaces, so it makes it easier. Anyway, on to 4 is green. Green's pushing north to get to their Steamboat Springs mine, and they're also trying to grab the Hot Sulphur Springs for some lumber up there, cut it down, make some money this way. They're so far behind at this point, you really can't say that they're in it at all, but you can never tell. Sometimes, see, usually here's the problem. Usually you make your big money early on, and then you're in this lead position. And that means that you're free to grab whatever comes near you. And it's unlikely, unless you're drawing from the deck, that you're going to get any big bonus on anybody else. And especially when you're starting to compete with other people, you need the good prospectors and stuff, and they don't have that. So they're kind of in what I'd consider a stillborn position, where they're just never going to really break out. And they're not making it to Aspen. It's hard to make it to Aspen. They have to take a winter route there. It's not a pleasant situation for them. They may end up selling that mine with all that silver on it, or hooking it up. Silver price is up there, though. They should have probably shot down and collected that money this turn. Maybe they should. Yeah, I think they should Well, no, they've got to take 2 turns to get there, so no, they can't. Okay. After green, we go to the 5 and 6. So over here, we talked about yellow extensively. So let's look at purple. Purple's shooting down, trying to get their big connection up, and heading up to Bowie. And I think we're not going to see the eastern players getting the halfway routes, but we definitely see red heading for the Salt Lake City thing. So I think there's going to be competition. Purple doesn't have the guaranteed lock on double routes here. If he goes for the eastern side of the half routes, he's not going to have them for long. Somebody's, in particular red, is going to be able to take them away from him. Alright, so deliveries have been made, and I think it was blue triggered off a silver sellout. Heber City ended up cleared out. It had like 6 on it. Could have held off. Could have hauled coal from Bowie instead, or Bowie, whatever. But Salt Lake City's coal prices are crap. They're hoping to maybe get some money for them. No reason to depress the market any by dumping them on it. It's not like they've got other coal that they've been pulling out recently. So a couple of passenger lines go. The only problem here is I kind of screwed up. This one didn't go. El Paso to Santa Fe. They still didn't buy that. I'm having real trouble keeping track of things. I think they bought one of the other ones, but they didn't buy the El Paso to Santa Fe. No, those are both Albuquerque. Pueblo to Santa Fe. No, they bought the wrong damn one. That's what happened. Alright. So let's see. The money change was not... So I owe some money for this. So although I made 20 bucks more, I had to spend 40 bucks more. So I owe 20 bucks here. My eyes are having real trouble. This map is so tiny, and I'm beginning, to become farsighted now in addition to nearsighted. So it's very difficult for me to see this map. Very painful. When I don't have my contacts in, it's okay, and I probably should swap them out. Anyway, definitely has made this more difficult to handle since I put them in. What else? Well, we're seeing the lumber beginning to be hauled. Reason here, people need operating money, and you need to make deliveries. You can hoard stuff. Now, in terms of the Santa Fe delivery, that wasn't a bad one because the lumber was already all the way up. But the El Paso, that's going to cut the price a little bit, and that could have been done a little better. Nobody dumped the gold. Not many people have access to gold. I think the only person who does is blue. The other gold that's in the board, white does not have access to yet. So yellow by a snowblower helped try to develop this route so that they can make their way through. Other than that, I don't know what. I got some cards to churn up. Might as well see. Denver to El Paso. That's a big route. And Salt Lake City to Albuquerque. That's the route down here. That's one that doesn't usually get developed because Salt Lake City has the advantage to pushing this way. And these guys are kind of, it's a long time for them to get up there, and they might be cut off very easily. Salt Lake City player can really actually defend their territory very well and prevent people from getting there. Again, an advantage for the spike games. 3-6. Take a look. Cuba Copper. That's a cool mine. There's 2 Cuba mines out there. Yellow was considering them already. Was considering the coal mine. A copper mine may be enough to convince them to go up there. Cuba's not too far from them, right here. Not too far from white either. One of the few things, there's not a lot in this central area, which is why the Santa Fe starting position is kind of iffy. We'll see how it turns out. Alright, I'll roll the prices and come back. Gold crept a little higher. Silver, of course, plummeted with that big stack going down. Lumber's largely going up, although the Santa Fe, El Paso sales depressed that a little bit. And the coal prices are increasing almost everywhere. There was a big sell-off in Denver, but it didn't hurt much. And now Pueblo's up to the maximum. So blue has another outlet for their stuff. This is going up.